Wow, TSM, I see what you're doing. You want to crawl your way back into my heart, and guess what? It's working, but in a really weird way. For a short period of time, TSM is now back on my good side in the news, guys, as they've officially announced their full Valorant roster. We are going to see a lot of these big signings coming. If you guys are a TSM fan, if you're a CSGO fan, you probably love this announcement, as it is composed of all former CSGO pros, some of which people might call borderline retired pros, and others were active amongst, the middle tier of scenes over there, but still, congratulations to the entire roster. I, for one, could not be more excited. But stemming from the Counter-Strike scene, of course, all 5 of these pros do come from that scene as well. It's a bit weird because TSM now, for several months, a long, I would say borderline a year, have been hinted at a return to Counter-Strike, and instead of that, they have now seemingly flipped the course of their team solo mid-ship, and they've actually gone into Valorant. We expect some huge announcements coming up, guys, but you got people like Hazed, you got Sabrosa, Wardell, you got Cutler and Drone. It makes up what looks on paper, of course, when it comes to 5 Counter-Strike pros, a pretty decent roster. It's so tough to judge Valorant pros because we have no idea what they're capable of, how good they can be. The game is set to release now June 2nd, and as that date does approach and actually float by us, we are going to see if TSM is going to join all of the kings of esports. All of the top esports organizations likely will also announce, and I will break them down for all of you guys. I will say this, a large debate right now stemming from the Counter-Strike pros, who have the longest list of pro players, no matter what tier they are from, leaving that esport for Valorant. So it's great to see pros who cannot make it financially viable in CS to leave for Valorant. I could not be happier for these guys, especially when it comes time for Wardell and Sabrosa being orgless and they couldn't be paid. And they've definitely been trying their utter best to make things work. Not that the other guys weren't, but certainly they were of note lately, really trying to push and make things work like a freakazoid, right? They were trying to get that paycheck in Counter-Strike. That paycheck is not there. Hopefully it is when it comes time for TSM. I could not be more proud of these guys to be signed. How they will do is completely in the air. And I think the bigger debate has to be TSM, why not CSGO, What do you guys know? We all know that it's very expensive to enter Counter-Strike Global Offensive as an esport and trying to compete at the very top level, but why not re-enter CSGO and why go to Valorant? The answer might be quite obvious, but I would love to know the finite details because they've been hinted at joining CS or returning to CS for such a long time, and now when it comes time, they just don't. Along with them as well, I'm not going to include this in the title, but Immortals Gaming Club, also one of the biggest esports organizations in the entire world, has announced their roster as of this past morning. I am not going to lie to you guys. At face value, I do not recognize a majority of their players. I would say of lesser note than the TSM roster, but just like any other roster out there, I can't really judge because we have nothing to really judge it on. We actually saw Gen G a couple weeks back announce their roster, and they placed very well in the first event they competed in. I believe they beat T1's roster. So this is going to be all over the board, a shuffling of, if you want to even try and start to rank or judge these teams, it's going to be all over the board. Congratulations, though, to TSM, bouncing back from the drama over this past 2 weeks or so, and right onto my good side, as they have now signed 5 former Counter-Strike pros to a Valorant roster. Best of luck going forward. One of the bigger announcements we have seen so far this Friday. What do you guys think about the roster? What do you think about the boys? And how do you think they will do? Until next time, drink your water, drink your coffee. I'll be back here all weekend long. You got guys and gals. Okay, bye.